This is Robyn Leslie with onlytheinspired.com doing another amazing coach interview. And I have Miss Beautiful Nefertiti San Miguel here. And she is a woman of many, many, many talents and all in the creative space. And what she's doing is just phenomenal. And just to hear her background and to hear the variety of stuff that she does is amazing. But so she's going to talk about a little bit how she helps people with stress management through creative art. And so Miss Nefertiti, in a couple minutes, describe who you are and how you help people.
Well, let me start saying thank you so much for hosting this interview. Super flattered to be here. My name is Nefertiti San Miguel. I am based out of Cambridge, Massachusetts. I am a mixed media artist, performer, educator, balloon twister, and I have been an Ikebana practitioner since 2007. So good portion of my life I have been dedicated to entertain people through live events and host educational programs as well. And now with the whole virus apocalypse, I have to make some adjustments and make new approaches. So I had scheduled a workshop about Ikebana, Japanese design of floral arrangements, hosted about 2 weekends ago. And originally I was going to be doing something for Mother's Day because it was right on that weekend. And then, well, we don't have too many supplies, things are scarce, we cannot get together, I cannot do the one-on-one in-person workshop. So I have to totally change my format and my approach. And as I'm talking to people in my area and online on different states, I realized that we are quite chronically stressed. And these current times have been just an accelerator to showcase that chronic stress that we have. Mm-hmm. So I did my own deep research for myself so I can extend it to the world. And I decided to combine my years of experience in teaching customer service, doing my own self-growth, learning different modalities. I practice humanistic Buddhism. So I put some of that philosophy into my teaching, neuroscience, of course, the basic Ikebana applications itself from the culture. And I am transferring all those different elements into an educational program to help people get that zen within themselves, get better in tune with the surroundings, filter out a little bit all this negativity that we have going on right now, and create something with a beautiful final product that everybody's going to be proud to showcase in their own space. My teaching is different than a regular floral design because I ask the person what they have on hand. I don't send a list of unreasonable, expensive material. Like if you go to an Ikebana school, a formal training, you have to spend hundreds of dollars in basic mechanics, tools, vases. And I don't want people to be discouraged because of the investment needed. So what I did in the recent workshop was have a one-on-one Zoom call before the activity and see what the person had on hand, what was their expectations, and how much creative they felt at the moment. And I guide them individually to do these beautiful one-of-a-kind pieces. So out of that, we're doing a community virtual exhibit hosted by a local library branch. And the people who were part of this workshop, they are going to be showcasing virtually the designs that I inspired them to do at that activity. So it's very rewarding, and I'm trying to build community, make things a little bit more spring-like and more like a blooming sense that we are doing good. We're going to unleash the creativity and we can make amazing things out of nothing. because that's what we have to do these days. We have to manage. So I am doing the approach of teaching the floral design with all these different pieces of knowledge that I have been cultivating over the year, and apply it to a stress management and healing arts. So of course, if somebody wants to get more into depth and detail about it, we can do a consultation, or we can do private coaching, we can do a small sessions. But the class that I want to extend for free to the audience, it will give you a very good sense of what I offer and how you can approach Ikebana outside of the somewhat stiff Japanese setting, because they can be a little complicated. So I want to make it accessible for everybody. I want to make it fun and have a beautiful final product that you will be so proud to show to the world. You know, have it in your office, have it in your home, and don't wait. This is very important for me, to share the festive spirit under all circumstances, that you don't have to wait for Mother's Day to receive flowers. You don't have to wait for your birthday to have a beautiful arrangement adorning your space. You should be capable to do it yourself, love yourself, and treat yourself to a beautiful creation done by your own inspiration. So I want to make this accessible to everybody. And this is suitable for teenagers, young adults, grown-ups, females, males. There is no restrictions here. And I'm doing the approach of very inclusive, very welcoming. Everybody and anybody can do this.
I love that. And that's a beautiful piece. And I didn't realize exactly how big it is. It is almost as tall as she is, and it's just gorgeous. So how did you get started in this business, and what was it that involved you or made you take this art of Ikebana? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Ikebana.
Yeah. And what made you connect that with stress management? What was the trigger that made you want to do that?
Well, I have to tell you, I have had a very long time relationship with flowers, nature, art, and Ikebana from young age. But it have changed over time. Sometimes it have been a deep passion. Sometimes it have been a little bit bitter, because when I was doing the formal Ikebana training, there was a lot of politics going around, and I was treated like a unwanted child. So I got discouraged to do the Ikebana, and I took a long break. And then I picked it up out of just personal soul search. I worked for a flower shop in Cambridge. So that kind of inspired me to go back to the Japanese style and do my own thing for my own space and be creative. So I was doing the educational programs already for a few years, different subjects. But it was a combination of given circumstances and also evolution. It's something that I have been doing over the years. It has been very relaxing and self-healing. And I can present the same approach to other people in the community, not only locally, but now with the virtual option, it can go extended abroad as well. And it's a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. So these have been a hybrid of personal training in the arts, evolution, emotional involvement with it, current circumstances. So it has been a mesh of a lot of things happening and blending together. And the whole approach of Ikebana as healing art and stress management, that just shaped up in the last 2.5 weeks. Oh. Because what happened recently with the whole virus apocalypse, everybody's so gloomy. There are no flowers in the flower market. You know, the grocery stores, they don't have a whole lot to offer when it comes to bouquets and arrangements. And I say, well, I can teach people how to use whatever they have at home. I am a mixed media artist. And for example, on this piece, 85% of what you see here, it's all old, dry materials. Because I didn't have the resources to come up with fresh imported flowers. That's not an option. So I ended up kind of scraping up what I could put together because I wanted to be part of these 2 virtual exhibits. And I came up with this. And to be honest with you, this is a masterpiece. It's the best piece that I have done in my entire life. And it was beautiful. Out of necessity to make something beautiful out of nothing, so I didn't sink into depression. And now this is just like my pride and joy. I show it to the world. It's massive, it's tall, it's just mind-blowing. I cannot even imagine how at some point I came up with all this, because to give you an example, the flower shop where I work, we had some old orchid plants and they shed the blooms. There were no flowers left. And I'm trying to clean up the space and get rid of unwanted material. And I passed by it and I was going to discard it. And I'm like, whoop, like something pulled me back. I look at it and I see these 3, actually 4 leaves that they were the leftovers of the orchid plant. And I'm like, no, they're still alive. They don't have blooms, but I can use it on my design. So I trim it from the soil and the base, and I made it part of the arrangement. And it's a live orchid plant, but it doesn't have the orchid flowers. And it just blends in with the rest of the items that I select for the design. So part of my philosophy, it's this Japanese word which doesn't have a translation. And it's called moitane. And that is a concept of being mindful with the resources and don't waste anything. You recycle, upcycle, repurpose, and you don't take resources lightly. And the current situation that we are experiencing right now internationally, I would say that it's a very strong wake-up call that we have to be mindful with the resources and work with what we have. You know, you go to the grocery store and you don't have 100 different options for the same item. You are lucky if you find something on the shelf. Yeah. So you have to work with what you find. And that's pretty much a reflection of that current situation into this piece that I crafted 3 weeks ago.
Love it. Well, and it's known that creativity helps battle anxiety and stress like that. So if somebody believes, because a lot of people believe that they're not creative, if they believe that they're not creative, can they make something like that and make it look pretty?
Oh, I guarantee I will make you unleash your creativity, because this is not something that you lack of. This is something that you have been trained by the establishment that no, you are not creative. We are all creative individuals, and that's part of my mission too. I want to show everybody that they can be creative and do beautiful pieces. And I had the proof in the pudding in my last workshop. Some of the ladies that were a little bit self-conscious and shy, and they didn't have anything to really show for as a florist. They didn't have like the right professional equipment. And at the end of the virtual experience, and we went around and they showed what they had, I was like, oh my God, I'm proud of what I can bring out of people. We can make this happen, and you just have to invest the 2 hours. I promise you, I will make it work with whatever you have. Dry branches, kitchen items, leftovers from an arrangement that you got gifted, things from your backyard. I mean, we have a boundless source of supplies within our environment if you just open up your senses a little bit and step out of the comfort zone that you're going to walk into a flower shop and get the traditional fresh materials. And like I say, this is a good way experience. It helps to stimulate your brain. It has been proven by neuroscientists that engaging into this kind of enterprises is going to refresh your memory, your capabilities to be more problem-solving individual, because sadly, we don't get trained on the aspect that if you can do something out of nothing and you are creative, you can innovate in science, you can innovate at the office, you can be problem solver at your business or company. And I'm trying to change that approach, because it truly helps and it's all intertwined together. The creativity, problem solving, enhancing your quality of life, enriching your own environment, and working with nature. It's a great way how to do it. We don't need concrete, we don't need expensive things. And I had one of the ladies, she had moss, she had soil, she had branches and a couple of dandelions. And if you walk into a flower shop with that, they're going to get offended. It's like, what do you think I'm going to do with that? That's nothing. And when she showed, after my guidance on how to go about it, her final piece, I was just like jumping up and down of being so happy and thrilled with the final result. So there's no question on my mind, this is suitable for everybody. And part of my logo, or rather, if you want to say the tagline for this business, is going to be unleash your creativity, because we all have it. I have faith on that. I have seen it. And there's no question on my mind that I will bring that out of anybody.
I love that. And, I would have never thought, I know creativity, is the opposite of anxiety and stress, but I wouldn't have thought all those other things. I love that. I think that's a wonderful, wonderful idea.
And I have to add to the conversation that a few weeks ago, I was crying my heart out like I just lost my life. All my events got canceled and everything got officially on pause until September 1st. And we're looking back in beginning of April. I was crying my heart out like I just lost the love of my life. And that night, I stood up until like 3 a.m. in the morning. And what made me surf that dark wave was engaging in Ikebana and floral arrangement. And I picked everything that I had on hand in my apartment, and I did these beautiful arrangements. I had more arrangements that I could know what to do with it. I look like a flower shop in my living room. I have things on the coffee table, on the nightstand, on the kitchen table. I was like loaded with it. And by the time that I got done, it had to be like closer to 4 a.m. I was like, now I feel better. I can pass out. I have a sense of accomplishment. My place is looking beautiful. Okay, it's not so bleak. I can manage this. So I'm sure that I'm not the only one in the world, and that's the reason why I shift the approach to go as stress management, healing arts. I will not teach or offer something that it didn't work out for me personally. And if I am not passionate about it, I don't engage into it. So I have faith, I have the proof, I have the product, I have the tools, and I am out there to share it with the entire universe.
Yay! Yay! Good. Let's see. What's been the hardest thing to overcome when starting your business? And I'm guessing since your normal business kind of got shut down for several months, it was discovering this new modality that could help people because it helped you and your stress. Is that so just finding a different way, finding a different avenue, because there's a lot of people who are out of business right now and their hands are tied. So what was the hardest thing for you to overcome?
Well, the hardest thing is right now to adjust to virtual reality so I can serve more people. Me being a mixed media artist and a performer, my life have been around live events, in person, small crowds. And now having to reformat the whole approach to virtual reality, where yes, I can see somebody in a small square in the screen, but we cannot have really that same level of hands-on interaction. That have been a challenge, you know, getting familiar with all the tools available for me to accomplish what I want to deliver to a new audience. It's a big learning process, and I'm still working on it. So it's not like I overcame, I still in it. So
you're working it.
I'm on it. It's a work in progress, but getting a little bit more comfortable on it. You know, I had my first virtual workshop, and it was truly a total success.
Yeah,
I was a little bit nervous, but my best rewarding moment is that I had a lady kind of joining the group at the last minute, and she lives in Massachusetts, in my home state, but she tuned in from Ecuador. She got a stock abroad, and she was telling me that there were no markets open and the streets were empty. And she tuned into the workshop because she wanted to interact virtually with other people and just get kind of a change of scenery, even if it was virtually. And she cheered up. She was so different from the beginning of the workshop to the end of it. She was more cheerful and a little bit having more hope. That was very, very rewarding. So that's keeping me fueled and motivated to get this properly set up and stick to it, because the fact that I was able to connect with somebody abroad in the middle of a virus apocalypse and deliver smiles at this level, which I never thought it was possible, it was extremely rewarding. So I'm going for more of that.
I love that. And I love that you say apocalypse. I've been, joking with people about it. So how you doing during the apocalypse? And so, yeah, I love that you do that too. That's awesome.
Well, I have to add to the conversation two things. One, because I'm a performer, I love Halloween season. I was part of haunted attractions. I did a lot of improv acting. And we always talk about zombie apocalypse. That's a Halloween theme. Well, we didn't get the zombies, we got a virus, we have to adjust to the creepy theme of Halloween. So also the fact that everybody says coronavirus, COVID-19, if I hear that name again, I'm gonna drop. So I want to put something more away from the media and news. So it's a virus apocalypse. I'm fine with that more than the coronavirus. So right. That was like my own in-house joke, if you want to present it that way.
Right. So I'm curious, so in building your business, building this business and doing all of your other creative activities, do you have a support of network of family and friends, or is this something that you're doing all on your own? Because there's a lot of us that don't have a lot of cheerleaders at home, and so I'm just curious where you are in that space.
Well, I have to tell you that it's just me, myself, and I against the world. I don't have family. I don't have a marriage. I don't have kids. So it's me, myself, and I in that regard. Mm-hmm. In regard the environment and the wonderful people that I have in my life currently, friends, fellow performers, business associates, I have a wonderful group of people that I can reach out, but I don't like to cash out favors, and I try to be as self-rescue princess as possible. Mm-hmm. So I can say if I need encouragement, I can reach out, but in the whole creative process, establishing the business as such, it has been a solo adventure.
Gotcha. Well, and that's going to help a lot of people, because a lot of people is like, I don't know if I could take this on doing it all by myself, but you can. There's so many people out there that do it. And so I appreciate you being honest about that. So what is the favorite thing about your business?
Interaction with the public, getting to travel around, which that was part of my operation before the virus apocalypse. Now it's a different format. And the best of all was the connection with different demographics and deliver smiles. I just love delivering smiles. I can see the before and after, and even if it's for a very brief moment, if I can bring some entertainment, enjoyment, education, knowledge to somebody to step away from whatever reality there might be facing, which there's a lot of things going on right now, from domestic violence to having issues with a partner or struggles at the job site. We all need a little bit of fresh air. So I want to be the one contributing to that positive change, even if it's just for a brief moment, to get you into that second wind and go back and face the world. That's what I want to do.
I love that. Because even in those little moments, it's like you could forget all your problems and just really enjoy what's going on in front of you. I love that. So what inspires you and what are you passionate about?
Inspiration for me comes from art, nature, and my travels. I have been a little bit of a nomad, and I just get inspired by my travels. I am in the process for the near future to do a mini book around my experience with Ikebana and my designs. And I am doing a series of do-it-yourself projects that I can reflect into my mini book so people can do themselves at home. And I named one Venezuela because I was born and partially raised there. And for example, Venezuela has more than 25,000 species of orchids. So I want to present within my work an approach on cultural exchange so we can be more welcoming for everybody and showcase a little bit of cultural knowledge and what is indigenous to different places that I have lived or traveled through. Last year I went to the Azores Islands, beautiful place, I had a blast. So one of my designs is gonna be named Terceira, which was the island that I visited, and they are famous for the hydrangeas species. Then this year I went to Costa Rica and I was in the middle of the rainforest getting natural high on extreme sports. So I'm naming one of the arrangements La Fortuna, which was one of the parks that I visited, and it's very green, very lush. It's in the middle of the rainforest, and one of the chapters in Ikebana from the school that I was formally trained on, there's a chapter where you do a floral arrangement with no flowers, just greenery. So based on that chapter, I am making La Fortuna design, and it's gonna go on my mini book. So I'm doing a lot of different approaches because I am not selling a floral design program where you're going to get the same tulips and you're going to get roses. No, I'm bringing a little bit of international culture showcase of what you find in different places in the world and inspire you to dig into that. There's inspiration in foreigner lands, in travels, and maybe the person who is contemplating going on a trip, they will get inspired by it and have an epiphany along the way. That's also part of my goal. So I have a lot on my plate, a lot of things going on.
So just a couple more questions before we wrap up. So who inspires you? Who is one of your inspirations?
Who? Well, I tell you, one of my recent inspirations have been a Buddhist nun from a temple that I attend in Cambridge. She is so down to current realities, and she showcases the very best of humanistic Buddhism. So she has been an inspiration and a role model for me. Also, I get inspired from the different people in my circle, traveling partners that I have had in the past few years. epic memories. Sometimes you go down a memory lane and you get inspired to do a design or take a approach on prior experience into my new curriculum that I'm writing. So I pick the inspiration from daily experiences. I don't wait for, I mean, I shouldn't say this. I don't have the mindset that the inspiration is just going to come from the divine. We are in a beautiful planet and you can find inspiration anywhere you turn. You just have to have a different perspective and how to look at the world. So I'm picking things from everywhere.
I love that. I love that. And you are so diverse. It's wonderful. So if you could leave one tip or golden nugget for the people listening, and it's the only thing that you could tell them and the only chance to say it, what would it be?
Well, that nugget is going to be a very good nugget because I will say a couple of things like in a hybrid. One, find your passion. Two, schedule time for yourself. The world is not going to fall apart. You need to schedule time for yourself and decompress.
Mm-hmm.
Three, pick inspiration from everywhere. There is beauty in all circumstances. And these are the good old days. Virus apocalypse or not, these are the good old days. And try to live ethically, not only in business, but on your daily practice. Be a little bit philosophical about it and be generous. Live generously. You have to start being generous with you because sometimes we get caught up on the news and economics and finances, and maybe the budget is a little tight, and we have all of a sudden this brainwash within ourselves that there's a scarcity. No, in those moments, it's exactly when you have to be more generous with yourself and the rest of the world. And we're not talking monetarily. We're talking mentally, spiritually, on the approach, on the interaction with others. You know, you can be more generous with your time. You can treat yourself to a little something that is going to make you feel better about yourself. So that is a very big part of my daily philosophy. Live generously, not only love-wise, but within the resources. There's enough for all of us. We should share with others because even if you have a little, it might be a big thing for somebody else. You know, sharing a snack with the homeless. I have done that more than once.
It's little for you, but it's very big for them.
Right. So there's no big or small or limits for generosity. And I definitely foster that. Live generously.
I love that. Very cool. Yay. You're offering a free, access to a 2-hour workshop?
Yes.
Okay. And then how would they get a hold of you? How would they connect with you to get that?
Well, so since I'm in the process of establishing web page and Facebook account and all those, the best way it will be to send me an email with the subject line of free virtual workshop.
Okay.
Or free floral design class, something around those lines. So I know that it's pertinent to this conversation that I'm having with you. Okay. And I will reply with the link.
Oh, okay. And then, so your email, it's etnia.fusion@yahoo.com. So it's ETN as in Nancy IA.FUSION@yahoo.com. And then, like she said, just do a subject line of free workshop or free floral design, and then she'll know exactly what to give you. And so she'll give you a little glimpse, a 2-hour workshop of what she's done, so you can see the kind of work that she does. So,
and also the other option, it will be the same Etnia Fusion by Nefertiti via Facebook, and I can get a private message. So the Ethnia Fusion by Nefertiti, it's my performing company and educational programs for arts residency. But that one is up and running. So I can get contacted by private message and I will happily send the link as well. So that's another option for the Facebook Nation residents.
Okay, awesome. All right, well, thank you so much for being here today. I think your design is absolutely beautiful. It's huge and it's just gorgeous. And I love that you're using creativity, because a lot of us haven't been creative since we're forced to in art class. And you know, and there's so many different ways to be creative, but a physical creation like that, a lot of us have never done. And I love that you connect that with the self-care and the stress management and healing modalities that creativity does. So I appreciate you very much for being here, and I love what you're doing, and I think it's amazing.
Thank you so much. Happy to be part of your program and delighted to connect with a new audience that otherwise I wouldn't have the access for it. And hopefully there are many more opportunities in the near future to keep connecting.
Absolutely. Yay. All right. Well, thank you very much. And we will talk to you soon.
Much love.
All
Best
right.
wishes from New England.
Yes. Bye.